Today I'm going to be answering your questions. Let's get into it. Last week I asked you guys to send me some questions that I can address in the next video. You guys asked some phenomenal questions. I've got a few of them here on my phone. We're going to run through them. Unfortunately, I can only pick a few. A couple of the questions are so great that I'm going to do a complete separate video on those. So thank you once again for your submission. Let's jump straight into the first one. Donnie Bester asks, Mills or MOA? Personally, Donnie, myself, I shoot Mills, as does a lot of other precision rifle shooters. The big reason for that is Mills is for me easier to understand. So 1 mil at 100 meters is 10 centimeters. That means 1 mil at 753 meters is 75.3 centimeters. So for me to do a measurement on that is a little bit easier. Also, the other thing that you have going for Mills is if a bunch of the other shooters are shooting Mills and I get up from the firing line, I say, listen, I was holding a half a mil at 800 meters. You can then take that information, apply it to your caliber if you're shooting something similar, and that actually means something. Because generally in these competitions, a lot of people are shooting similar calibers, and then that information is usable. Whereas if I got up and I said to you, I was using 4.5 MOA, and you shoot Mills, it's like I could just as well be speaking a different language. So that's basically why I shoot Mills. It's very easy for me, and I hope that helps you. Rifle cleaning and maintenance. Neil, this is a great question and something that I've struggled with a lot. I've recently come to the ultimate conclusion that I now have the right combination of products I use to clean my rifle. So first of all, let me address how often I clean my rifle. If I've shot it, I clean my rifle every single time. If I've shot 5 shots, 2 shots, 1 shot, 200 shots, 400 shots, I clean my rifle every time I use it. It used to be a pain in the ass. If you look above me, you can't actually see it. It's out of frame, but let me tip the camera back. There is a bunch of cleaning stuff I never use anymore. The only product I use at the moment is this. This stuff is absolutely phenomenal. It's called Thorough Clean. Let focus. There we go. So it's a combination of 2 products essentially. You basically flush your barrel out with this one, couple of clean patches. You put this on a nylon brush, not a copper brush. Nylon brush, jimmy it a little bit. It's like a paste thing. You can hear it. It works. It's unbelievable. On the 223 Remington behind me, I had such bad copper fouling. I tried Hoppe's number 9, Gunsmithy stuff. I tried Bortec, everything. Eventually I went to Thorough Clean, and now every time I clean my rifle, super easy, and it looks like my barrel has been hand lapped. It's like a mirror inside there. It's unbelievable. Highly recommend that stuff. You can buy it from Bullet Central Africa or bulletcentral.com if you're not in South Africa. Right, let's have a look at our next question. What 22 setup are you thinking of getting? So, Angelo, that's an awesome question and one that I've spent a ton of time on. So, we're obviously bringing the NRL 22 to South Africa also, and the NRL 22 league is gigantic in America, and there's some other countries around the world also running NRL 22 matches. So, first of all, I'm going to get 2 rifles. I've bought a CZ455 Tactical. I think that's the model number. I'm going to drop that in an MDT chassis. And the reason I've bought that, it was on sale, and I'd quite like to have another one for my wife to shoot or whatever. But my main competition 22 is going to be a Voodoo Gunworks V22. I'm going to put that in an exact same chassis as my competition rifle. It's a Remington 700 footprint. It's essentially a full custom 22 rifle. It feeds from a Remington 700 style magazine. It doesn't have the little mags, and what that will allow me to do is have the exact same platform I do as my competition rifle and just mimic. The only thing that will be different is the bolt throw will be really short. So that's something I'm going to have to work on to make sure that I do quite a little bit of dry firing with my short action main competition rifle so that I don't short stroke that bolt. But I'm really excited to get the Voodoo V22. It's probably going to be another couple of months. I'm going to top that off with a Vortex AMG, same scope as my competition rifle, just to make sure that everything is as close as possible to each other, and then I can seamlessly train for nothing versus, you know, in South Africa it basically works out to about $1.15 per round on 6.5 Creedmoor, whereas on 22 long rifle It's obviously significantly cheaper. So great question. Right, Conrad actually asked a really good question. What sort of exercises do you do to train your body to keep still when firing from weird positions? So Conrad, that's a really good question, and I haven't found the answer to that. So what I have found, however, is it does help to be strong, to be able to handle your rifle and handle your body and to be supple. So I try and do some strength and conditioning stuff at least 3 times a week. I try and stretch after most sessions. I'm bad with that. I'm fortunate I've come from a martial arts background, so I'm relatively flexible, but I do have to keep working on stretching. And then I found that cardio actually works quite well, just in the sense that you don't get out of breath when you moving from one obstacle to another obstacle so easily. So you can transition, and because you're physically fit, you're not out of breath and going and causing that reticle to move up and down and all over the show. So just being strong, being supple, and being in a physical good condition is what I found. Those combination of those have helped me quite a bit from a physical activity point of view to help keep my rifle still. The other way to obviously add to that, to complement each other, is to practice. And you don't necessarily have to practice with live ammunition. You can dry fire in your living room. I do that quite a lot. And there you can try different techniques and everything, because you don't want to be going to a match and trying new techniques at a match. You can mess around at home and it doesn't have to cost you anything to get new techniques down. So I hope that helps. So TJ asks, how do you set your scope parallax for different distances in stages? So TJ, what I do essentially is I look at the different distances in the stage, and I would generally dial for the furthest one, or I would split the difference and sort of come up with an average. If I have targets far beyond the furthest setting on my scope parallax, which is 500 yards, I'll generally just set it to infinity and let them fly. If however I'm on a barricade and we have a target at 320 for example, I'll sort of dial it to 320 and send it from there. But on a stage, even if you watch my videos, you'll seldomly see me messing with my parallax, as generally there is not enough time to fiddle with the zoom, the parallax, dial different distances. So I basically set it and forget it in the beginning of the stage, and I will shoot the stage just like that. So it's not something I really play with on the stage. And I haven't actually seen many other shooters play with their parallax on stage. If however I'm shooting a extreme long range event, I'll mess with the parallax a little bit more to make sure I get a crisp view on that target, and just to minimize any possible shift in terms of where I see my reticle, in terms of where it actually is on that target. But generally in NRL style events, targets are generously sized and you should be fine if your parallax is slightly off. Okay, so Eric asks, what distance do you typically zero your rifle at? 50 yards, meters, 100, and why? So Eric, I zero my rifle at 100 meters, which is 109 yards if I have that correct. And the real reason I do that is I don't want to do like a 300 meter zero and then have to dial down sometimes and then dial up for further shots. I know a bunch of guys that shoot unknown distance ranges up to about 370 yards. They do like a 200 zero and then they can hold high or hold low depending on where they think that distance is of that target. But for myself, I quite like 100 meter zero because I know seldomly will I have something in front of that, and therefore I'm always dialing up or holding down in my reticle. And the reticles that I shoot, the sort of Christmas tree style reticles from Vortex, they complement that well, and that works for me. Right, let's have a look at the next question. Weston asked in our Patreon group, where I am in the US, factory grade ammo is so readily available on store shelves and through online vendors that the decision to hand load could be considered entirely voluntarily. On the contrary, I recall you mentioning that your resources such as ammo being scarce where you are in South Africa. This makes me wonder, in regions with growing competitive precision rifle communities such as yours, do you feel it is necessary for newcomers to also invest in reloading setups? Right, Weston, that's actually a really good question. And the answer to that question is actually pretty complicated. So if I lived in the US, I'd absolutely buy and shoot match grade ammo for practicing, hunting, matches, the works. And the biggest reason I would do that is I know my rifle really likes those. It's affordable to buy, and the biggest thing is I get my time back. Now at the moment I load my own ammo, and yes, it takes a lot of time, but I do enjoy the process of hand loading my own ammunition. Obviously your initial cost is quite high to get all the equipment, but then you can start producing your own ammunition, and you have to, I actually built a spreadsheet to see how long it would take me or how many rounds I would need to load to get that saving. Now, you'd be surprised if you shoot at a small-ish volume, you can recoup your funds relatively quickly, especially on rifle ammunition. Because remember, when you ship that match grade ammo from the US, you have to add shipping, custom duties, licensing and permits. You have to add the distributor markup, you have to add the wholesaler markup. So by the time the consumer buys that, it's really expensive. So absolutely, if I lived in South Africa and I was going to shoot at or a new market where things are being imported to and it's expensive, I would absolutely run the numbers, build a spreadsheet, add up all the components you would need. You don't need to buy all the best stuff at first. I was shooting, quarter MOA groups, okay, maybe 0.4 MOA groups with almost no experience hand loading in my Ruger Precision Rifle. And I basically taught myself how to reload from YouTube. Probably don't do that. Go get a friend that can show you some stuff, because it's much easier that way. I have had since then, and even to this day, I've got people coming over to my house and helping me, giving me tips, because by no means do I know everything, and I'm always willing to learn, to find better results, and just to free up more time, essentially. Less time behind the bench, more time to shoot, essentially. Right guys, that pretty much wraps up the video. Please smash the like button if you like this one. If you're new or you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button down here and turn on the little notification bell. That lets you know when I upload. I'm gonna be doing one video a week with some odd ones in between here. The next 4 weeks are crazy for me. I've got multiple flights, shooting different matches in different parts of the country. It's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna be doing camera stuff on those, vlogging, the works. If you haven't, please follow me on Instagram, and you'll see some other behind the scenes content, just some more stuff that don't always make it onto YouTube or the Facebook videos. My username is gonna be here somewhere, and yeah, I'll see you guys there. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.